Hi guys, my name is Matti Sulanto, and in this video I'm gonna tell you one good advice that's gonna make you a better photographer. And this advice will work, I guarantee you that. And also remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and also consider signing up for my monthly newsletter. There's a link in the description, but you can also go directly to my website sulanto.fi. But before I go any further, I have a couple of questions for you. Why is it that you want to take pictures? And what is it that you want to tell with your pictures? Most of the time I hear people asking, how do I make this picture? What kind of settings do I need to make this picture? What kind of gear, what kind of lens do I need to make this picture? But those are all the wrong questions. Before you start making any pictures, you should have a very clear idea why you are making that picture or whatever picture, or what is it that you want to tell with your pictures or any particular picture. I have basically three reasons to take pictures. First is, of course, the paid assignments. And the second reason is this YouTube channel. Whenever I'm testing new gear, I need to take pictures on that gear to see how it performs. Right now, for example, I'm testing the new Sigma 12 to 24mm lens, and I need to take some pictures on that lens. And the third reason is, of course, my personal projects. Whenever you look at other photographers' work, ask yourself, why did the photographer take this picture? And even if you don't understand it right away, at least try to understand why did he or she take the picture. The technical stuff is pretty easy to learn. You can learn how the exposure and autofocus on your camera work in one afternoon or one morning in about 4 hours if you really put yourself into it and really concentrate. It's not difficult. And you can learn the basic compositional rules also in another morning or afternoon. Just learn the rule of thirds and a couple of variations of that, and you are good to go. So in about one day you will learn everything you need to make decent pictures that are easy to look at, if you just can find some sort of main subject in your pictures. Well, okay, I admit, maybe you have to practice a little bit longer than one day, maybe you have to practice a couple of months or half a year, but still in a relatively short time you'll be able to make balanced compositions and your exposures are correct and your pictures look good, like postcards. But how to get beyond that, that's the difficult part. Let me tell you another example to illustrate better what I'm trying to say here. Let's say you want to write something and you know your alphabets, so you can make words, and you know your basic grammar, so you can make sentences with your words. And I would say those skills are equivalent to those photography skills that I just explained earlier. So you want to write and you want to use those basic skills that you have. But you don't quite know what to say. But you start putting words together and you put those words to sentences and put a few sentences after each other. But I bet the outcome is nothing very interesting, because there's no story or no message. If you'd like to write something interesting, I think you need to have some kind of a message or a story, fact or fiction, and maybe some kind of a plot there too. So it would be interesting for someone to read. And it's exactly the same with photography. And some of you are going to say, I know that, some of you are going to say that I just want to have some fun, it's nothing serious. And that's fine too. I mean, I think it's fundamental that you're having fun if photography is your hobby. And if you're not having fun with your hobby, I think it's time to look for another hobby. So it's okay to snap pictures and have some fun. But I don't think you can expect much progress or development in your skills as a photographer if you are just snapping here and there something. If you really want to develop as a photographer, I repeat, you have to have a very clear idea why you are taking those pictures and what you want to tell with those pictures. And I totally understand it if you just want to have some fun and nothing else. There are so many people with cameras that not everyone can have very ambitious goals. And of course you learn new things while you're having fun, but it's probably more on the technical side than on the storytelling side of photography. And here is finally the advice I was talking about at the very beginning of this video. And since there's probably only a fraction of the original audience left at this point, because I haven't been talking about gear so far, consider this more personal now because there's a smaller group of you now. And here is finally the advice. Start a project. I've said it before on this channel, but it still stands. It's a very good advice, probably the best advice. Stop looking for single unconnected images. Start looking for continuation and a series of pictures that tell a story. For your first project, choose something simple, something mundane, and something that you are really interested in, something that intrigues you, and something that's relatively easy to access to. Don't take like too big of a challenge at first. My Malaysian friend did a really good project, and it's a good example of how you can find a project right under your nose. I interviewed her in December, and I'll put a link to that video at the end of this video so you can take a look if you're interested, and I highly recommend you take a look because her project is a very good example of how you can make something out of pretty ordinary, something really great. And my friend's project, of course, is just one example. Your project can be something totally different. And it's important to look other people's work, but don't look too much what others are doing. Just do your own thing. And take your time. Slow is good. A project does not happen overnight. But everything is being done already, I hear you say. Yes, it's kind of true, but it doesn't matter because nobody has done it like you are going to do. Because you're going to add something personal to it, something that matters to you. And while you are doing your project, you're going to develop your own style, and you're also going to develop a uniform body of work that's going to give you a lot of satisfaction far in the future. And also curate your photos while your project is progressing. It's important to think of the main pictures, the establishing pictures, and some transitional pictures that carry the story from a main picture to another. It's a bit like video editing, sequencing. And a project is not necessarily taking 10 masterpieces. It's about telling a story with multiple images. And also, don't share your pictures, at least at the beginning of the project, and not until you're sure that you have some photos that you're going to include in the final portfolio. And about the gear. Keep it simple and keep the same gear throughout the whole project. The same camera, the same lens or same lenses if you choose multiple lenses. But keep it simple. That's important. Unless, of course, the project changes altogether and becomes something else. And who knows, maybe the project will lead to another project and you have all of a sudden a second project in your hands even before you finish the first one. Everything can happen. Anyway, this is my advice for you to become a better photographer. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you again in the next one.